Nice work.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
We've started.
Welcome to Beers with Phil and Grace. I'm Phil.
I'm Grace.
And I'm bored, you're probably bored too. Let's drink some beer.
Excellent.
Yeah, okay, last week I told a little fib. I said that we were going to do hazy IPAs, but in order to get us back on track with our schedule online, we are going to do the Totum range of IPAs from Deep Creek. However, we drank one of them last week, in last week's session, so we've only got two. We will talk about it, but we've only got two this week, and then next week we can do the hazies and we'll have the full lineup.
Easy.
Cool. So
what's the Totum range?
The
Is that a
Totum
special
range,
thing
yeah,
for-
it's like the American. If you see, they've got the this one as well
With the little monkey on it.
Little monkey on it, and it's all sort of cool and Native American looking. So yeah, they're all American styles of IPA. Various different types of American styles of IPA.
Okay. Should we start at the beginning then and explain what an IPA is?
Segue.
Yeah, I know. Smooth.
Alright, cool. Yes, let us talk about IPA. So we touched on it last week, didn't we? Very briefly.
Very briefly, just
Yeah.
talking about how the hops preserved the beer when it was making the great travel across the ocean from
That's right.
England
that's
to
right.
America.
So
No, England to India.
England to India. Yep,
Yes.
correct. So that's why it's called the India IPA.
Mhm.
Not Indian IPA, but India IPA.
Mhm.
You can pick up on saying Indian IPA anyway. Nobody's gonna. Well, some people stickler for semantics, but the India IPA came about as a need for getting beer across the ocean.
Mhm.
Because typically beer, as it was made at the time, even the pale ales, were still very high in residual sugars. They hadn't quite figured out yeast yet to its, to the degree that they have today.
Yep.
And it was a little bit sweeter still. The climates obviously were warmer. They didn't have refrigeration, and it would spoil on the journey, as well as definitely spoiling when you got
So
to
those
India, which
sugars
is-
would turn. Is that what? Okay.
not just the sugars, but I mean, where there's moisture in the sugar, there's going to be bacteria that's going to attack it. And
Gotcha.
it's going to kill the beer. So what they did was they upped the alcohol volume by treating the yeast nicer,
Mhm.
in a way of speaking. Not as much as people think. A lot of people think that the IPAs traditionally were really, really strong, but they weren't. They were actually only a little bit stronger than your mid-strength beers are now. But what they really did was up the hops, because they knew that hops had antibacterial properties.
Mhm.
So they whacked it with a load of hops and sent it overseas to India.
Mhm.
Troops got drunk, everyone was happy. So that's the IPA. Now what we're tasting today though is an American take on it. A lot of you who have had an IPA recently, like a New Zealand Pale Ale or a New Zealand IPA, it'll be of an American style rather than a British style. British is famous for making these, what they call warm beers. Not warm, it's supposed to be either room temperature or a bit below, but carrying on. So these IPAs that we know now as IPAs are mostly the American style, really, really full on, loaded with hops, hugely high in bitterness, really full bodied, and wow, loads of fun. But
When did they, just to interrupt, sorry, when did that sort of start in being produced?
so that was
Testing you now.
yeah, no, cool. That was the Americans really started to create craft beer, with craft IPAs, sometime in the late 20th century. So I'm thinking maybe around the 80s or the 70s. I'm leaning more towards the 80s. I don't actually know precisely when they started to really take off, but that's certainly what kicked it off with these big West Coast IPAs. They weren't called West Coast IPAs at the time, they were called IPAs, but which actually brings me to my next point. These, by and large, the two that we're trying today are West Coast IPAs. They do also, you can also get what they call New England IPAs now, which are a little different. Unfortunately, that was the strength that we tried last session, which would have rounded out the session, but never mind, we're going to carry on. So the two that we've got here, this one is your classic West Coast IPA.
Are we starting with this one?
Oh, we were going to start with Jungle. Sorry. All right, that's a good point to mention actually. I haven't tried either of these yet, but I do know that this one is unfiltered and leaning more towards the hazy side, which usually means that it's going to be less bitter. Now, when you're tasting beer, it's a good way, instead of doing it from colour, which is what I mentioned, remember, in my first episode,
talking about that.
colour isn't everything to do with beer. A good way to try your beers, if you're doing like a little tasting session for yourself, is to do it by bitterness rather than colour.
Right.
Because bitterness is what's going to kill your palate. So, try this bad boy. Should be a little less bitter than the West Coast, which is why we're trying it first.
Beautiful.
You know, Grace, I really should have done yours first, but I was a gentleman.
That's alright.
Now you've got a boyfriend, I know.
Oh, you're going to do it anyway?
Yeah,
Thank you. Oh, I see what you mean about the kind of unfiltered
Yeah,
thing
so there's a little
there.
haze.
That's
You know,
a
it's
beautiful
not.
colour.
It's not like. It's
It's
not
not
opaque,
a-
but it's.
Slightly cloudy though.
Yeah, slightly cloudy. Yeah, so.
It's got a beautiful aroma.
Scott from Deep Creek calls this a jungle IPA. It does have a beautiful aroma. It's not quite as citrusy, it's more tropical. Oh man, it's gorgeous. Actually.
What tropical fruits are you
Honestly,
getting?
I kind of thought this was a bit of a joke, you know, like jungle IPA, what the hell does that mean? But oh, big on passion fruit, which is pretty common. Some mango. Yeah, a lot of mango and vanilla.
Oh, I really, really like that.
Yeah.
You've not even tried it yet.
No, I haven't. It shouldn't be too bitter.
It's not. It's not. It's really
Yeah.
kind of calm.
Really
on
full
the-
body, more balanced. Yeah.
Creaking door. I'm just going to close that before it slams.
It might be my cat. Mmm. Yeah, that's gorgeous.
Yeah. That's what I really want a beer to be.
You know what, it still has a little bit of bitterness there in the back. More than you'd traditionally expect from a New England IPA, but I mean, it's not a New England IPA, it's a West Coast IPA that is hazy.
You've said New England IPA a couple of times already. What is that? So it's not a West Coast. It's a derivative? No, it can't be because the West Coast is
Now,
opposite side.
Grace, you've messed up my order.
Oh, sorry, you're going to get that. No, that's right, we don't need to dive into it yet.
No. Well, it was going to be next week's episode. So, hazy IPAs. It's commonly misconstrued as a New England IPA. Actually, you know what? They're kind of synonymous now, so it doesn't really matter. But hazy IPAs often are called New England IPAs as well. New England IPAs are American style where they're full of hops, but they're more balanced. They're not quite so full on the bitterness. All about the aroma. They tend to appeal to a wider audience as a result. So this one, you can see elements of that, and that the bitterness is toned down. It's not quite so bitter as you'd expect from a big, full-on West Coast IPA. A bit lighter body and full-on bitterness.
I think it's incredibly tasty. I love this.
To be honest, I prefer New England IPAs myself.
I'm still learning, so I'm not sure
Yeah.
which I prefer yet, but I know that that's what I want a beer to taste
Alright,
like.
so we have a lovely earthenware spittoon here.
What do you want to try? Here you go. I'll just grab a fresh glass then.
Okay, while our cameraman is,
knocks it back.
is taking liberties.
We're getting a thumbs up, so
Yeah.
it's a winner.
Alright.
Oh God, you made a mess there.
Oh yeah, I did. I almost poured the lot out onto my glass as well. I forgot that I had to pour some for you too.
Okay, so this one's...
Big ups to Alistair from Homebrew West too for this, the last of my beer glasses that are left. All the rest are broken. Right.
That's a good beer glass. What makes a beer glass a good beer glass? If we want to go there. If not,
yeah,
I'll
that's another rabbit hole. Glassware is important, guys.
Well, maybe we can do an episode about that.
Another one.
Okay,
Yeah,
just
another
about
one.
glassware.
Alright, so I imagine we're probably getting pressed for time now. So
Yeah.
oh, see, that's real big on the aroma. Really tangy. I don't know if I should say tangy, but anyway.
See, I thought I got more from the other one. Maybe my nose has stopped working.
Oh no, for sure. Yeah, the aroma. This is more of an aroma style beer. but this one is more of that West Coast citrus that's coming through.
Right. So will the West Coast be quite orientated around the citrus coming
Commonly,
through? Okay.
not always. You know, you can mess around with hops as well and still be a West Coast IPA. You see that? That body's been pulled back and that bitterness is really at the front. Yeah.
It's less, maybe this is, I don't know, is this a mean thing to say about an IPA, that it's like...
Clear as a bell.
It's not balanced.
It's not, you're right. So West Coast IPAs are not a balanced style. They intend to be unbalanced.
That's very unusual.
They're a hop showcase, and when I say hop showcase, I mean bitterness, aroma, the whole shebang. So.
Still very tasty. Probably not
delicious.
As much my style as the jungle.
I prefer the jungle, but that's personal. A lot of people are hop heads, so prefer the West Coast IPAs. This is for you. But anyway,
Either way,
guys,
both beautiful.
I reckon that's us. We've only got 2 this week. However, next week we do have the promised 3, the hazy IPAs, New England IPAs.
Woohoo!
My favourite style. I'll have a bit to talk about on those.
Won't be able to stop you. That's great.
Thank you, Grace.